I'm just curious, you got through 2 games now. After you sat back, watched the tape, how are you feeling just about yourself and your game and fitting in with the squad?
I feel like I'm finding what I can do and what I can bring to the team. Just watching the past 2 tapes and the film we went over, I see that rebounding is my biggest thing, something that I can bring to the team, as well as good defense. We have some things to work on, but we're on the right track. And I love the feel of our team. I love how I fit into the system. So I'm feeling really good, and just hoping to continue to improve and find ways that I can contribute.
What's this part of the week like? You guys are kind of in that home stretch, before the first game coming up. Mike said you guys kind of sat down and sounded like you guys had some honest talk about the progression of the team and what you guys need and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, what's your mindset going into these, final couple days before cuts, and how you think the team is, going to be ready for that first game?
Yeah, honestly, of course, this week is a tough week. Like you said, it's going to be a week of cuts, finalizing teams, and also going into the first game. So it's a lot within this week. For me personally, I'm just focusing on what I've been focusing since the first day of camp, how I can help, how I can be a better teammate, and what I can bring to the table, making sure I'm showing that. I feel like there's a couple of things that we're definitely going to work on so that when we get to that first game, we clean up what we weren't doing in the preseason. So for me, the mindset is going to be the same. Staying focused and, like I said, doing what I can to continue to show what I have and can bring to the team.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Christy?
Hey, Joe. With what the team meeting sounded like, looked like, what did you gain from that experience, sitting down and kind of laying everything out on the table?
I would say what I gained the most is just being vulnerable. I think a lot of time as professional athletes, we're really guarded with, what we know we can do, how we know we can play. But when it comes to a team like this, like, it really comes down to being vulnerable, letting your teammates correct you, have constructive criticism. Natasha did a very good job of voicing, what we need to do better. When we're sitting down watching film, letting the coaches coach you and not feel like it's, a personal attack, but it's just, constructive criticism to get you better. So I would just say, I learned just to be vulnerable and not, be offended if someone says this or that, but to just take it in, look at what they're saying, take the meat from it, and then just keep going forward.
And just to add to that, what kinds of things are being said to you specifically, as you alluded to, headed into the final stretch here for the final roster?
For me specifically, it's just, I would say defense and knowing where to be. I think that's a big thing for Coach T, is our defense. We have specific principles that we need to have down. They're non-negotiables. So for me, it was that defensive rotation and that principle. So that's me. I'm going to go back and watch film with Coach and make sure I'm getting those things down so I'm not forgetting that in the game.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Joe? I think that's it then.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
See you too.
Good. You ready to get started?
Yes.
Kareem?
Hey, what's up, Leilani? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just gonna ask you a little bit about yourself. You guys, you've gone through 2 games now. Just how are you feeling? How's this early season progression coming along? I know, almost everybody's struggled a little bit offensively. Just kind of curious how you feel and about where you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see it. We're still working out the kinks. A lot of us haven't played together. A lot of us haven't played in over a year. So we're just trying to find out the chemistry, but then also Coach's system, who we want to make plays for. Because, it feels that way. When we're out on the court, it just feels like we're just trying to get through the plays and just trying to remember the plays. But we're not really running the plays with a purpose. So that was a big focus today. And, from this point forward is really buckling down on our offense and our defense and making sure that we're playing with a purpose.
Is that just something that's just a matter of time?
Yeah, I think so. It's camp. We had a lot of people, a lot of young people in as well. So I think once we start narrowing it down and really focusing in on, you know, the point of each player, who we're running each play for, and who needs to touch the ball the most. And then defensively, stick with our principles. We're a bit lost out there on defense. So, you know, it's a process. It's early in the season. You know, we don't want to be our best at the start, but, you know, we do have to pick it up because, you know, we only have a few practices left before the first game.
What was that meeting like today? It sounded like Mike said he gave out some hard truths today.
I guess it was a hard truth. I mean, I think it's just a necessity. You know, I think a lot of us are very mature in our basketball, and you know, we can take the criticism and we want to hear the truth. So I think it was a good starting point for us. You know, we like when he gets on our case and holds us accountable. So you know, he might not always want to do it because, you know, he probably feels he shouldn't have to a lot of the times, but you know, that's just the point where we're at right now.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Christy?
Hey, Leilani, just tagging back in with the meeting that you had, and just saying what you just said about how Coach T said he shouldn't have to do that. Like, when you have a lot of new faces, but you've been in the league now, is your voice one of the voices that was heard today in the meeting in that regard?
No, to be honest, it was mostly just him talking. Obviously he's the coach, and he put this team together with a certain idea of how he wants to play and what his system needs to look like. So it was a lot of him just sort of laying that out and giving us a few pointers that we can really control each and every game. You know, and like he said, our shots will fall some games they won't, but there's certain things that we need to do both offensively and defensively every single night. So he just really pushed that towards us, and once we got into practice, really focused on executing and making sure we have Tina touching the ball majority of the time. You know, obviously she's going to be our main scorer, especially until Elena comes back. So she's a big focus for us. And in the preseason games, we didn't really get her the shots that she needs to get consistently, and then also long stretches where she didn't even touch the ball.
Just to tag that really quickly, with that being said, you know, the chemistry piece, you said, you know, you're trying to find that on the offensive side, but not a lot of people talk about chemistry on the defensive side of things. Is that what the struggle is on that side? Just where people are going to be up the line, and the chatter that goes on that side is a little disjointed? Is that what's going on there?
I mean, communication is big. And I think the way that we call our defensive, especially our pick and roll schemes, it takes a while to get used to it. It takes a while for the post to get used to which side the screen's on it and what sort of terminology they need to let the guard know in order to, you know, change our feet and that sort of thing. So that'll take time, but a lot of the times, both as the guard and the post player, we're just like nowhere near the right position. So it's just being a little more focused and helping each other out. Obviously, if we see if we're in the back line of defense, talk to each other, you know, when they can't see that the screens are coming, or let them know that the help's there. And then just be on the split line. That's a big one for us because a lot of times we're too worried about our own man and we're not helping each other out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
DA?
Hi, Leilani. The DC government announced today that I think June 11th, they're going to lift all the restrictions on attendance at most big venues, you know, like sports teams. And I just wonder what your anticipation is playing in ESA, you know, this year with what I would assume would be pretty packed houses by the end of the summer.
Yeah, obviously excited. It's been a long time. You know, last year in the bubble, didn't have anyone there, maybe 10 people if it was family members or some media. So had a little bit of fans in Australia because, you know, the restrictions weren't as tight, but obviously, you know, I think the fans are really anxious to get back and support us, and you know, we get energy from the fans, so we're excited. They have a good crowd. Obviously, the last season that they played here, they won the championship, so I'm sure everyone's really excited to get back in here, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Kareem, did you have another question?
Yep, I've got one more. I'm just curious, Leilani, this is kind of a big picture kind of question, and I know obviously Elena hasn't been practicing with you guys yet and all that, but I'm just curious, what do you think it'll eventually look like when she's back and her and Tina are out there at the same time and you guys are spreading shooters around them? I'm just curious, have you thought much about what that will look like one day, and you get a little bit excited thinking about the prospect?
Yeah, well, I mean, it should look like a championship contender, in my opinion. Obviously, she's been an MVP of the league the last season she played, and Tina's always an all-star Olympian. She does her thing every single night. We've got Ariel, who can score on the wing. Maisha had her breakout year last year and was absolutely incredible for us in the bubble. Tosh is back and she leads this team, and she finds shooters, and her intensity, both offensively and defensively, is great and will lead us. And really looking forward to it. Obviously, it'll take some time. Her first game back, she's probably not going to be herself and, scoring 20 some points. But, if we can sort of have our core chemistry set before she comes in, and sort of know how we want to play, then it will be easier for her to slot in and just sort of take off and find her rhythm. Because, it might take her a little while, which, is normal and usual. So, but just having her out on the court, obviously teams are going to be worried, and it's going to draw a lot of attention.
Cool. Quick and easy. Thank you.
No worries.
Last question to Christy.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, one more.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, just super fast with the week just heading into the game on Saturday against Chicago. What do you want to see? I know you talked about the chemistry and working on the defensive reads and things like that, but just overall, just total focus of the team. What do you think that should look like as the roster is going to be set on the 13th, and then obviously the game on Saturday?
Yeah, well, like you said, just focus both offensively and defensively. And I think playing with more intensity, things are going to go bad. We're going to turn the ball over because we're not used to playing with each other. And we might call some schemes wrong on the defensive end, but if we're there to help each other out when we make mistakes, that goes a long way. Or if we, get the 50-50 balls, or we can box out every single time, because those are little things that we haven't done in the first 2 preseason games, and frankly, we haven't even done it in training. So just really buckling down, and I think each and every person taking responsibility. You don't be the one that messes up. Don't be the one that has to say my bad, every few times down the court. Holding ourselves accountable. And if we all do that, I think things will start rolling